Howdy folks, Keywii here, and welcome back to Suzerain, a safe space in which we awesome, where we are, of course, having a good time. So, we're just gonna jump right in here. No news reports, no things available. We have a few things we did on turn 8. Yeah, and attend the opening, and then Peter is, you know, and it's not good that he's got the affair, but honestly, it's a fine thing. Alright, so it was a meeting. It was the morning of Livia's trial, and hordes of reporters were gathered in front of the state courthouse. Peter, Lucian, and I stood by the entrance. Lucian had helped break the news of my secretary's arrest. Now the media was beginning to question exactly how a Runeberg agent had been able to infiltrate the Maroon Palace. It was time for me to deliver an explanation. Oh, they already know that part. Okay, well that's a real shame. Podium with a bank of microphones awaited us on the courthouse steps. Peter looked uncertain. I had told him I would be doing all the talking today. Remember what we talked about, Mr. President. I wish I remembered what we talked about. How could I forget? I was about to blame my best friend for a scandal that would otherwise shatter my administration. Peter hadn't said a word to me since I broke the news to him in my office. Together we stepped behind the podium. The reporters clustered around us and started shouting questions. Thank you for coming. Please settle down. As you're aware, Livia Suno, former secretary of the President of Sordland, is currently being tried for espionage. The Runeberg spy who posed as my secretary is currently on trial for espionage. Ooh, how... You know what? I think I'm gonna do the blame game. Cause Runeberg to be pissy at me and declare war, and then we die. Rest assured, the traitors shall be brought to justice. Rest assured, Runeberg will be made to answer for its latest affront to our great country. Sure, a security breach of this magnitude shall never happen again. Interesting. Runeberg will be made to answer for its latest affront to our country. Yeah, I'm definitely not doing 1, because that feels like it's inviting too much uncertainty. You know, like people are just like, how safe is our country really? What do we do? Is there more? But no, I'm feeling 2 or 3, and I definitely want to do 2, because 3 is addressing that specifically, but 2 feels anti-Runeberg, and that's what I want to be right now. However, the fact remains that she should never have been allowed to infiltrate our administration in the first place. Or the fact remains that she should never have been allowed to access sensitive government information. Okay. So I'm going to make Peter look like an idiot instead of, a collaborator. That she did can be directly traced to the carelessness of one, exploiting the weakness. Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, I don't want him to seem like a collaborator. I want him to seem like a fool. Because everybody knows his reputation as like the playboy of Sordland. So, you know, she exploited him. She's the problem here, not my vice president. And he had to step down, of course. But, you know, just for your guys' sake. She did so by exploiting the weakness of Vice President Peter Vectern. Journalists gasped and murmured. Peter turned to face me, his mouth hanging open. It's better than the alternative, dude. Sir Vectern's willingness to put his own infantile desires over Sordland's security has made him a threat to the state. Recklessness to say nothing of his betrayal of Swordish values has Oh, no, both of these are bad. I've locked myself in to a place I don't want to be. Willingness to put his own infantile desires over Sordland's security has made him a threat to the state. Recklessness to say nothing of his betrayal of Swordish values has disgraced my administration. I don't know where the right path was, but I'm no longer on it. Yeah, I don't want him to... I want him to feel like a fool, not a collaborator. That's the story I'm going with. Therefore, the Vice President shall be trialed for his shameful actions against the state. Found guilty, he will be imprisoned. Take him. Therefore, the Vice President has tendered his resignation effective immediately. This one feels better. of the alternative option. The clamor of reporters was growing louder. Peter seemed to shrink behind the podium, his charisma failing him at last. That's it then. No going back from this. The reporters are becoming hard to ignore. One woman in the front row looked particularly insistent. Mr. Vectorn. Pater, take the question. I'll be answering all questions on the Vice President's behalf. President Rayne, were you implying that Mr. Vectorn had the covert agent posing as your secretary were engaged in intimate relations? Ooh, absolutely not the second thing. Yes. Were you aware of this when it was happening? Your solution to end the press conference. No. Lucian interjected. Neither the president nor the vice president will be taking any more questions. Thank you. Reporters reluctantly dispersed. Lucian and Pater and I looked at each other for what seemed like an eternity. Finally, Pater lowered his eyes. I guess I'll go to the palace and start packing my things then. I'll come with you. Pater shook his head. I watched him descend the courthouse steps to his car alone. A shame about your friend, Mr. President, but it appears you will make it out of this unscathed. Of course, there's now the matter of replacing both your secretary and your vice president. You're a little old to be my secretary, Lucian. Too soon. Yeah, no, we need to think about that. A few candidates in mind. Very good, sir. We walked back to the stairs of the courthouse to watch the rest of the trial. Oh, there's gonna be fucking news reports. Others? Ooh, interesting. Olivia Suno. Alana Vance was a Roombergian spy who briefly served as the private secretary of President Anton Rayne under the alias Olivia Suno. During her service in Sordland, she was tasked with directly handling most of the critical calls, scheduling the paperwork for the president. Vance had previously worked at the Swordfish Airline headquarters, secretary of the director, before starting her work for the United Sordland Party National Committee in 1953, where she was assigned to assist Pater Vectorn, who's organizing support for presidential nominee Anton Rayne. All right. Things sound good. I'm sure every party had their own, Livia going on in it. All right, everybody's curious. Roomberg infiltrated Maroon Palace. President's secretary arrested. Breaking news from the Maroon Palace. Presidential Secretary Olivia Suno has just been revealed to be a spy from Roomberg. More details are forthcoming, but it appears the agent, whose real name is not yet known, managed to get past the palace staff's stringent background check and obtain confidential information from within the Rayne administration. The president has taken swift, decisive action to remove her from her position and bring her to justice. President innocent in spy scandal. At a press conference in front of the Sordland State Courthouse, President Anton Rayne vindicated himself in the recent Maroon Palace intelligence leak. He revealed that Vice President Pater Vectorn was responsible both for hiring Roomberg spy Alana Vance, aka Presidential Secretary Olivia Suno, and disclosing sensitive information to her. Thankfully, with the arrest of Vance and the removal of Vectorn from the office, the Swordfish government is secure once more. God, I don't feel good about this. Secretary arrested for treason. Olivia Suno, secretary to President Anton Rayne, was arrested yesterday following an investigation that revealed her to be a covert agent from Roomberg. Her trial is scheduled to begin in the next several days. In the meantime, the question of how an enemy spy was able to infiltrate the Maroon Palace on such a high level remains. President Rayne has announced that he will soon be holding a press conference to address this potentially brewing scandal. Rayne pins spy scandal blame on Vector. No, I didn't. Ugh. Facing an intelligence leak that could irreparably damage his administration, Anton Rayne passed the buck to hapless VP Peter Vectorn. Oh shit, hang on. That's not how you spell his name. He was forced to resign during a press conference on the courthouse steps today. He was Vectorn of hiring presidential secretary and Roomberg spy Olivia Suno without a proper background check and even hinted that the two were carrying on an affair. His dismissal of Vectorn may satisfy some, but we are duty-bound to get to the bottom of this scandal. I'm not a fan of any of what's going on. Selection of a new vice president. Briefing on the women's rights situation. I'd much rather do this. Sitting in my office, I looked at the clock. 2:26 p.m. It was almost time for my appointment with Sierra on women's rights. There was a knock on the door. Sierra entered the room with folders in her hand. The door did not close behind her. Monica entered the room and stood next to Sierra. Mr. President. Anton, before we start, I just wanted to thank you for agreeing to this meeting. I've been dreaming about this ever since I volunteered with the Swordish League of Women. I can't believe the moment's finally here. Anything to make you happy? Nope. I think both of you together could finally bring change to Sordland. Maybe. I hope you thought this through. Real change requires carefully considered plans. Absolutely. I know, that's why I already signed the decree to give women an equal education. I'm gonna go with 3 on this one. Hope you thought this through. We did. Sierra sat down on a chair and laid down the folder she was holding. First off, Mr. President, I wish to thank you for pushing a decree on establishing gender equality in education. You know this is something I've been trying to accomplish since my appointment as minister. The situation in the public schools was disturbing for me. With that said, we still have a long way to go before Swordish women are able to enjoy the same rights and privileges as men. Oh yeah, if you look at modern day fucking America, the United States, my god, they don't even have maternity leave. Are you kidding me? This is the 1930s. Get the fuck with the times, my dudes. Or even their counterparts in Arcasia and United Montana. We've been lagging behind on this for decades, Anton. And this isn't the only moral issue. I have seen enough revolutions in this world to understand the main driver of any change. Money. She flipped the folder open and started pulling out documents. In United Montana, the law dictates that women earn the same wages as men in their respective fields. My research shows that this led to a 15.5 increase in productivity. We could say this had a direct influence on their superpower status. Arcasia passed laws ensuring maternity leave rights, child care centers, and tax deductions for working families. In turn, they experienced 12.6% productivity boost and a flourishing economy. Both countries also have significantly lower infant mortality rates, a statistic I believe is directly linked to the improved status of women. Hard to say. That one might specifically be the healthcare. I don't know, though. Really, I don't have enough information. Our administration has thus far failed to pull Sordland out of its economic recession. She leaned back in her chair. So I'm asking, why not try passing similar laws? At worst, even if they fail to improve the economy, it's still a significant step forward for our society. It's only logical. Monica handed me one of the documents that had a list of bullet points on it. The two of us talked it over, and there are the measures we believe are most urgently needed. I let my eyes wander down the list. Criminalizing domestic violence, support for working mothers, equal treatment in the workforce. Now, we should criminalize violence. I mean, you know, make things chill. Maybe women still work at home, but hey, they aren't under attack at home, you know, from their husbands. Feels good. Support for working mothers, maternity leave, as I mentioned, so I can get with the times, my dudes. Equal treatment in the workforce. Now, that one I feel like is very good, and it should already be hit. God, I can't. God damn it. They're all good in all the ways. I'm gonna criminalize some stuff, though. I shouldn't have to tell you how crucial this is. It is utterly unbelievable that, in this day and age, Swordish men are legally allowed to beat their wives. Oh, it's legal! Oh, that's bad! Oh no, I didn't know that was legal! I agree, it's a travesty. What families do in their own homes is none of our concern. That is untrue. We run the country. Dude, I don't care what you're doing in your home. It's like, you own the homes. You own the whole damn country. I'm happy we're on the same page. As an incidence of especially high within Bludish communities, I would also advocate for setting up a special domestic violence task force in collaboration with Bludish women's rights organizations. Monica looked at her strangely. Are you sure that's something we ought to focus on? The Bluds are different. They have their own rules. Monica, I'm surprised at you. We can't let women suffer under the patriarchy. Ooh, you said the P word. Now no one's going to take you seriously. In modern times, I don't know, this is the 50s, might be different. No matter their ethnicity. Still not sure about Criminalizing... Sorry, I got weed on the brain. Criminalizing domestic violence is a good idea for the Bloods or anyone else. We should lift up all Swordish women, Bloods included, to have their own ways of settling these things. I've been very, like, racially neutral this whole sort of game. We can discuss the particulars once the law is passed. Support for working mothers. Oh, okay, I'm not picking one. Alright. Good. Sarah nodded. I forgot it was the discussion and not like a decision. This simply isn't fair that women in the workforce are punished for having children. Remember that I told you about Janice, my friend who basically got fired for becoming pregnant? That would never happen to a man. They can't get pregnant anyway, but even so. Paid maternity leave and state subsidized... Wow, that one hurt. Daycare centers could be a key to keeping more mothers employed. I don't want to reward women for choosing work over raising their children. I need to parse that question. What? Don't want to reward women for choosing work over raising their children. I'm not sure I understand the statement. It's true, having children never hindered my career prospects. It shouldn't hinder a woman either. To think about this, Monica, you always said you never regretted giving up a career to raise Frank and Dina. Anton, I never had a choice. Moving on. Oh, well, we were having a discussion. Equal treatment in the workforce. That's an easy one. Right now, Sordland has one of the continent's largest pay gaps between men and women. We need legislation ensuring that a woman doing the same job as a man is paid the same wage. We would also introduce quotas to get more women into positions of power, in the assembly, for instance, or on the boards of corporations. Eventually, narrowing the pay gap is a far more pressing issue. As it would bring financial independence to countless lower-income women. CR, we never talked about this, but I always thought that with more women in power, higher status for all women would naturally follow. Women are starving because they don't make a living wage. That's a damn sight. More important than your friend Janice being passed over for promotion. I don't see a problem with quotas, but tackling the pay gap is much more urgent. Quotas seem far easier to implement than equal pay laws. We should start there. Quotas are a terrible idea. People should be hired on merit, not simply because of their sex. Okay, controversial opinion time. I think that the idea behind hiring more, disparaged people, more people of color, more women, whatever, I think the idea behind doing that is good. I think the implementation is bad because it's, in some places, obviously not all places, in some places they want to do the progressive thing and hire more people of color. So they are more likely, and this is like subconscious, I think, but it's more likely to hire the less capable, POC than the slightly more capable white person. Now, again, some cases, not all cases, in fact, few, but the implementation is not ideal, I guess you could say. Again, controversial opinion, I know, I'm white, I shouldn't be thinking that I'm racist, but like I do have a problem with the way they do that. I've been passed up a lot of jobs. Anyway, sorry. Quotas are a terrible idea. People should be hired on merit, not simply because of their sex. I want to be sex neutral. Looked at me strangely. Men are hired on the basis of their sex all the time, not just consciously. There are more than enough qualified women to fill any position you can think of. It's up to us to give them the opportunity. That I agree with. You should definitely hire the person on the merit, not because of what they look like, regardless of what they look like. Black, white, whatever, man, woman, whatever, but just because of what they look like, you should hire them because they're good for the job. That's it. Literally couldn't get hired at a fucking convenience store within 2 minutes of my walking of my home because they didn't hire men for the fucking cashier position. That's actually a thing that happened. Fucking hell. That covers all subjects. What are your thoughts so far? We made a good case for all of these changes. I'm not sure I can risk passing laws like this so close to the election. Absolutely not. It feels too much like you're comparing Sordland to other nations. We must choose our own path. That one or three, and I'm feeling wonky on three. I don't know. I'm feeling it, but I'm not at the same time. It's weird. I agree completely. We must aim to be better than them, better than all of the superpowers. None of them have yet managed to achieve true parity among the sexes. If we can do that, we'll make history. Let's talk about how to proceed. I want to establish a commission for women's rights in Sordland with me as its head. Oh, okay. Our goal shall be passing and implementing a set of laws to solve the problems we just discussed. As the commission's spokeswoman, my responsibility will be to make speeches and organize fundraisers. I'll be the face of this movement while Sierra handles the groundwork. If I can show that the first ladies behind this movement, many women will feel encouraged. Sierra gestured down at her outfit. Especially those who aren't keen on pantsuits. Wish I knew what a pantsuit looked like. The organization's name will be Commission on the Status of Women. It's going to be damn hard getting your laws past the Assembly. What do you need a commission for? I'll run your laws past the Assembly. It's going to be damn hard. Damn hard. I'll run your laws past the Assembly. I don't want to feel like I'm playing favoritism, you know? It's going to be damn hard getting your laws past the Assembly. I know, but even a watered-down version would be better than nothing. True, actually. Mr. President, I know we've had friction in the past, but this has nothing to do with your decisions on creationism. What? This is a completely separate topic, and it should be handled as such. One more thing to consider before making your decision. This could help silence any of the public's lingering questions regarding your former vice president and the Livia Suno affair. Oh, really? You have the chance to be a hero. Think about Dina and her future. I hope you will make the right decision. They rose from their seats expectantly. I took a few minutes to think. I will approve the creation of the commission. You can try and run your laws by the Assembly, but they'll get no support from me. Support your bill in the Assembly. Monica turned to her. That's all the excitement you can muster? We did it! We did it! We fucking did it! Monica hugged Sierra. She smiled uncomfortably. It's not over yet, Monica. The true battle is in the Assembly. We will celebrate once it is done. I'll start gathering names for the commission tonight. Sierra started collecting her documents. She and Monica headed towards the door. Monica paused before leaving. I love you, Anton. I'll see you at home. I could hear Monica and Sierra. We fucking did it! Talking excitedly to each other as the door closed behind them. I looked out my window over the city of Wholesword. It was a clear day outside. Industrial zone! No. Okay, well, what's going on with my wife? Entry added to the codex for Munica. Alright, I didn't actually look at the cabinet. Peter Vectern. Swedish politician. Until his dismissal in 1956. Oh, it's 56 right now. As a charismatic politician, especially known... In 1956, he was involved in a huge scandal that led to his dismissal as vice president. According to reports, Vectern had an intimate relationship with a foreign spy who had infiltrated the administration and was blamed for leaking classified information. I very specifically tried not to do that. He was dismissed from his post by Anton Rayne shortly after the scandal broke. I tried very specifically not to blame him. Anyway. My wife, Monica Rayne, is the women's rights activist who is also the current First Lady of Sordland. She was born in Lockhaven to parents of Anglo-Swordish background. Is this supposed to be Saxon? Are we in Saxony right now? This partnership. She became the spokesperson for the Commission for Women's Rights in 1957. Wait, it's already been a year? What the fuck? Swordish League of Women denotion. Sure. Oh, fuck. The most influential women's rights NGO, the Sordland League of Women, is organizing a massive fundraising campaign to raise awareness of Sordland society and has reached out to us personally for private donations. Fine, whatever. I don't need wealth, it's fine. Nah. Alright, so in the journal, on turn 8. Okay. Investigation. I blame Runeberg publicly for the involvement. Offered the forced resignation. Monaco beheading. Decided. Wow, there's a lot going on. A lot going on at turn 8. Let's read some news reports. Lockhaven Times. Rayne makes donation to Swordish League of Women. As Swordish women continue to march for equality, Anton Rayne showed his solidarity by donating a large sum to the Swordish League of Women. It was not only a generous gesture, it marked the first time a president of Sordland acknowledged and personally supported the women's rights struggle. Reached for comment, a spokeswoman from the League expressed her gratitude to Rayne, while emphasizing that new policies will help the women's cause much more than finances. Yeah, I'm aware of that, but whatever. Anton Rayne donates support to women. Will policies follow? Is it femme-washing or the real deal? Fucking what is that term? President Rayne made an unusually large out-of-pocket donation towards the Swordish League of Women, but has yet to budge on women's rights policies. Some of Rayne's defenders argue that the issue has always been on his agenda, but had to take a backseat as other more urgent priorities sprang up during the first half of his term. This donation can be an indication that they're right, or an empty gesture meant to placate them without angering Rayne's conservative base. Partially true. I don't want to piss off the base, you know? The base. It was here the day I've been dreading since Pater's resignation. At the entrance to my office, my new secretary, Sylvia, took my hat and coat. She was a matronly woman in her 40s. She had a spotless background assisting various Maroon Palace officials. Replacing Livia had been easy, but replacing my vice president would be difficult. Swordish law dictated that if a vice president failed to complete his term, new candidates were to put forward by the members of the cabinet. After much deliberation, the list had been narrowed down to 3. Lucian Gallade was the front-runner, followed by Gloria Torrey and Albin Clavin. It was up to me to decide who would fill Pater's shoes. I want Lucian as my strategist still. VP ain't so good. I'll get a bad strategist. I want to chat with them one-on-one before I'm making any decision. I had just begun to settle at my desk when I heard a knock on the door. Lucian entered and perched on the chair like a bird squawking. Perched? It's like, should he not sit? Sir? You know why you're here. So, Vice President Gallade, what do you think? Alright, Lucian, you're one hell of a strategist, but why should I make you VP? It is precisely in my capacity as strategist that I have evaluated the experience and capability of your potential vice presidents. Objectively, I am by far the most qualified candidate. I would advise you not only to think about our long history together, but also the many crises I have helped shepherd you through. I won't say much beyond that. I believe my work speaks for itself. You're such a valuable strategist, I don't know if I can afford to lose you in that capacity. I don't know, the public might gossip about your lack of a wife. I'm not going to go there. You wanted Pater's job from day one. How do I know you won't try to have me out next? No, you're a valuable strategist. I need you there. As Vice President, my ability to serve you and this administration will only increase. Lucian got up from his chair. I expect you will make the right decision. Nah, dude. Ain't happening. He left my office. Just a minute later, there was another knock at the door and Gloria Torrey came in. Mr. President, I must say I am not surprised at all when my name was put forward. Why were you not surprised? One does not learn to expect a few things after spending so many years in government. But it's simply, what I bring to the table is years of experience. I've been a member of the Assembly for almost 20 years, and I spent 7 years as its Speaker. This alone speaks for itself. As you know, I am also the leader of the conservative wing of the party. You can see what I'm getting at. Tell me what you are getting at. Your experience would be a great asset. You become the Vice President, and I get votes from the Conservatives. Precisely. This would allow us to pass bills far more easily, especially if those bills are aligned with my bloc's causes. I will think about it. There is no us, Gloria. We are already aligned. I will think about it. I want you to know that I value order over everything else, Mr. President. Being the Speaker of the Assembly requires principles, nerves like steel, and determination to uphold proper conduct. All you're doing is telling me that I should keep you as the Speaker. You can expect to see the same of Vice Presidency. You being a woman could also prove advantageous. I don't think Sordland ready for a woman vice president. Not just any woman, a strong woman who was able to protect order in a room full of unruly men for 7 years. Think about the message it would send. The first woman vice president of Sordland. No, first woman vice president in the whole continent. What support would you would lose among traditionalists, you would gain tenfold among Sordish women. There is much to gain from selecting me, Mr. President. I believe you will make the right choice. That will be all for now, thank you. You're right, there's gain, I will consider it. I'd rather not align myself with the conservative wing. You're right, there is much to gain. I will consider it. I knew you would see reason. I wish you a nice day, Mr. President. Gloria made her way out. A minute later, there was another knock at the door. This time, it was Albin Clavin's turn.
Greetings, Mr. President. It's a great honor to have been chosen as a candidate. Really terrific.
Let's talk. I will be straightforward. Why should I pick you?
As you know, I represent the reformist wing of the party. What Sordland needs today is not only to catch up to our more modern neighbors, but to surpass them. I believe we can do that. No, I'm sure. However, this will only be possible if we set aside the differences and unite as one. That is the outlook I wish to bring to the position of Vice President, so that Sordland can excel and soar to new heights.
I did not ask about your opinions. What can you provide me with? Very idealistic, I like it. Nonsense, Sordland thrives on tradition? Definitely not.
Very well. The fact is, if I'm the Vice President, reformist members of our party will be more likely to support you and your causes. This will smooth the passage of bills and help move our administration and our country forward in record time.
That makes sense. If you join the administration, that is. I don't think that's likely. That makes sense.
What this country needs is more dynamic, youthful leadership. Look at you, President Rayne. You became the youngest member of the Assembly and completely rejuvenated Sordish politics. I want to do the same. We need to be able to take risks and make gains, and that is only possible with a forward-looking perspective. There, I've stated my case. I trust your judgment.
I'll be all for now, thank you. Thank you, I will consider what you said. Aligning myself with the reformist wing does not seem like the way forward. I will consider what you said. I'm being considerate to all of them. As in, I will consider all of them.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Albin got up and left. I leaned back in my chair, thinking about the pros and cons of each of my vice presidential candidates. You can almost hear Pater's voice in my head, laughing at the absurdity of my situation. But of course, he wasn't there. Ooh, I don't get to choose right yet. Ooh, okay. Is there a scene? Oh no, it's just a choice. Alright, we are going to save this for next episode. Cliffhanger! That'll have to be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I, of course, am Keywii. You can grade tune yourself. Wait. No. We do it now. We do it now. Alright, so. The vice president position remains vacant after the events of the scandal and has to be filled by a capable person that the administration and party can trust. Several options have been laid out by the cabinet. We need to make a decision immediately. Alright, so Albin is out. I'm not feeling him. Lucian, I really want to stay as strategist. You know, he's very good at his job. And, you know, I don't believe he had that much more power than Pater Vectorin did. I really don't. I feel like he had a lot of power. I listened to him way more than I listened to Pater. You know, it's just the way of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick Laura. Not only because she's the only other option, the process of elimination, but also, like, she has experience, very experienced, and she's a woman, which is going to be great. You know, for the whole equality thing that I'm working towards. People are going to be like, oh, you aren't just making a large sum donation and placating the women. You actually care. That's what I'm doing. That is, for the fucking vote is why I'm doing this. And there it goes. Assembly. Gloria Tori. Sordish politician who currently serves as the vice president of Sordland. She is the first woman to hold that position. She previously served as the Speaker of the Grand National Assembly. Blah, 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 blah. Appointed her as the VP. Now, before I actually end the episode, started the day of the... Alright, so yeah, it's going to be an actual scene. So yeah, genuinely that ought to be for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I, of course, am Keywii. You can great to yourself a delightful day. I love you all. Goodbye.